When I made one choice to stay by Naomi's side, I never imagined it would change my destiny forever. I worked in the fields as a poor stranger, but little did I know, my life was about to be rewritten. Would you have made the same choice I did? My name is Ruth. Stay with me and see how faith, loyalty, and love turned my story into something far greater than I ever imagined. Once upon a time, in the small town of Bethlehem, there lived a family, Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their 2 sons. But hard times fell upon the land as famine swept through. Desperate for survival, the family left their home and moved to Moab, a foreign land with unfamiliar people and customs. At first, life in Moab seemed manageable. The family built a new life, and Elimelech's sons married Moabite women Orpah and Ruth. But tragedy struck in waves. First, Elimelech died, leaving Naomi as a grieving widow in a strange land. Then both her sons passed away, leaving Naomi, Orpah, and Ruth as 3 widows with little hope for the future. Naomi, broken by grief, decided to return to Bethlehem. She heard the famine had ended, and though her heart was heavy, she longed for the comfort of her homeland. Orpah and Ruth, loyal to her, offered to go with her. But Naomi, knowing the hardships that lay ahead, turned to them and said, "Go back to your families, my daughters. You're young. You can remarry and have a future here in Moab. My life is bitter, and I have nothing to offer you." The 3 women wept, their tears filled with love and sorrow. Orpah hesitated. She loved Naomi deeply, but the thought of leaving her home, her people, and starting over in a foreign land seemed overwhelming. Slowly, she kissed Naomi goodbye and walked away, back to the familiar comforts of Moab. Ruth, however, stood firm. Naomi pleaded with her to leave, but Ruth's eyes burned with determination. She uttered the words that would change her destiny forever. "Don't ask me to leave you or turn back. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God." It was a decision filled with uncertainty and risk. Ruth was choosing a life of hardship over comfort, loyalty over logic. Little did she know this one choice would shape not only her life, but generations to come. When Naomi and Ruth arrived in Bethlehem, the townspeople whispered, shocked at Naomi's return. Could this be Naomi, they asked, seeing her weary face? But Naomi, bitter from her losses, replied, "Don't call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has made my life very bitter." With no money and no men to provide for them, Ruth took it upon herself to care for Naomi. She offered to glean in the fields, picking up leftover grain after the harvesters. It was backbreaking, humbling work, but Ruth did it without complaint. As fate or divine providence would have it, Ruth ended up in the fields of Boaz, a wealthy and respected man who also happened to be a relative of Naomi's late husband. Boaz noticed Ruth immediately. She stood out, not just because she was a foreigner, but because of her relentless hard work and quiet dignity. When Boaz asked about her, his workers told him of her incredible loyalty to Naomi. Moved by her story, Boaz approached Ruth. "Listen, my daughter," he said kindly. "Don't go to any other field. Stay here and work with my women. I've instructed the men not to harm you. And whenever you're thirsty, drink from the water jars they've filled." Ruth was stunned by his kindness. Falling to her knees, she asked, "Why are you so kind to me, a foreigner?" Boaz replied, "I've heard of all you've done for Naomi, how you left your home and your people to care for her. May the Lord, under whose wings you've come to take refuge, richly reward you." Ruth returned home that evening, her arms full of grain. When she told Naomi about Boaz, Naomi's eyes lit up for the first time in months. Boaz was a close relative, she explained, someone who could act as their kinsman redeemer, a man who could restore their family's name and land. Naomi devised a bold plan. She told Ruth to approach Boaz during the night and ask for his protection as her redeemer. It was a risky move, one that could have ended in rejection or even disgrace, but Ruth trusted Naomi and followed her instructions. That night, as Boaz lay sleeping near the grain pile, Ruth quietly approached and uncovered his feet, a gesture of humility and dependence. When Boaz woke and saw her, Ruth said, "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are my kinsman redeemer." Boaz, deeply moved, assured her he would do all he could to protect and redeem her. But first, he had to settle matters with another relative who had the first right to redeem Naomi's land. The next morning, Boaz went to the town gate, where legal matters were settled. Before the elders, he presented the case. The other relative declined, allowing Boaz to redeem Naomi's land and marry Ruth. Their union was a celebration of love, loyalty, and redemption. Ruth, the Moabite widow who once gleaned in the fields, became the wife of one of Bethlehem's most respected men. Together they had a son, Obed, who would become the grandfather of King David, the lineage of Jesus Christ himself. Ruth's story is a testament to the power of one bold choice. By staying with Naomi, Ruth chose faith over fear, love over self-interest, and sacrifice over comfort. That single decision set her on a path to unimaginable blessings. Some key lessons in her story are: 1. Courage changes. Everything, Ruth's bravery to leave the familiar behind, teaches us to trust in the unknown when guided by love and faith. 2. Kindness is never forgotten. Boaz's generosity reminds us that acts of kindness can transform lives and inspire others. 3. God's hand in the details. Even when life seems hopeless, Ruth's story reminds us that God is always working behind the scenes, turning our pain into purpose. Ruth's journey, from a grieving widow in Moab to a woman of legacy in Bethlehem, proves that no matter how small or insignificant we feel, our choices and faith can create ripples that shape the future. This is not just Ruth's story, it's ours too, a story of hope, redemption, and the beauty of stepping out in faith. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more inspiring and thought-provoking Bible stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Join us as we uncover more incredible stories that reveal God's plan and His amazing love for us all.